Welcome back to Exotic Astrology. Nice to see you back. And today we are extremely delighted to have Kṣaṇāti ji with us again. And today we will discuss on spirituality and discuss many charts on spiritual personalities, which Kṣaṇāti ji will discuss. And I have brought some spiritual charts of common people. So many times people think that spirituality is only for the people who are already enlightened. And people who are already there in the holy books like Ramayana, Mahabharata or Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not for the common people, and it is also not for the married people. It is only for the people who disappear into the forest, right? So that is why I have brought charts of common people who I know from last 10-15 years, and Kṣaṇāti ji will show charts of divine personalities. So there will be a mix of both the areas. All right, so welcome, sir, to Exotic Astrology once again, and the stage is all yours. Welcome.
Namaste, Bhabajeet. It's so good to be back here with you on Exotic Astrology. Our Saturn K2 presentation did wonderful. The community had received that very well, still getting many views on that. And it's good to be back here with you to discuss a spiritually focused and oriented topic. I think it's wonderful that we're looking at the chart of the average human native, which is constantly being grabbed by the grahas, influenced by the grahas, so they can use that for their spiritual evolution. And when we look at the chart of the guru or the Sat Guru, the fully enlightened or the awakened guru, they have actually evolved past their chart. That doesn't mean that the chart doesn't show certain things. The chart will still show certain things, but they have evolved past any malefic or negative influence in their chart, only manifesting the most evolved or most highest vibration of any type of planetary conjunction. So I would like to start by sharing my guru, Amma ji. So before I begin to get into this discussion, I just want to do a quick chant or prayer to my guru. And then, so if you'll just give me the moment while I do this quick prayer for her. Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwariyema Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwarye Namaha Tvameva Sarvam Amriteshwarye Namaha Hari Om Om Namah Shivaya. So when we look at the chart of any master or awakened teacher, we can't look at it from the perspective of a normal human being here. Just like when we're looking at Lord Krishna chart, Lord Rama chart, you do not approach these charts from the perspective of a normal human being, because these are evolved spiritual beings. When you're looking at the cycle reincarnation, even though there could be some debate, but I'm not here to debate, but they have gone through the Mahasamadhi, which means they have ended the cycle of reincarnation, and these master teachers, they come back here to assist the humanity, to assist the planet, to assist the earth, to offer service to this planet, but they have already broken the cycle of reincarnation. So the way that their chart will be influencing them from a spiritual perspective is going to be completely different. Now, one thing that we notice about Amma ji's chart is that she has an exalted Saturn ascendant. We have Saturn at 3 degrees in the sign of Libra, so her ascendancy is Saturn exalted. Saturn is the servant. Saturn is the Shudra. What is the most evolved evolution of that energy? She is the servant to God. She is the servant to humanity. She is the servant of love. And so all of these strong servant energies are exalted within her nature, within her lifelong purpose in this lifetime. So it's very important to notice the Saturn exalted here in the ascendant position. But I also, one of the things which is very remarkable when we look at the chart of my guru is she has the moon exalted in the 8th house position. So the moon is exalted in the Rohini Nakshatra in the 8th house position. Because of this influence in her chart, normally this could cause some difficulties. So if you were a regular human being, you know, work a regular job, have a regular wife, this might have some difficult influences on your chart because the moon is in the mind and it's in the 8th house here and it's very strong in the 8th house. So there could be lots of mental vulnerability. That's if this person was manifesting as a completely human. Now, this is the house of chronic disease. One of the things that Amma's devotees have noticed is that, or have said, is that she can take away the disease of other people. So normally this moon in the Rohini Nakshatra or in the Kritika Nakshatra in the 8th house position, it could be influencing certain challenges. But for Amma, she has transcended these challenges. That means that actually, if you are one of her disciples and you have some type of disease, let's say you have the cancer, let's say you have the AIDS, let's say you have any other type of horrible disease, you go with an open heart and devotion and you beg towards Amma. And when she gives you darshan, please take this disease away from me. She will take it away. The 8th house has also been the house of drugs. Some people with moon in the 8th house, if they were a human being, they would be tempted towards drugs. But Amma is a completely sober individual, and she actually transcends this energy to take away the addictions of other people. I have actually met individuals, they have the tobacco addiction, they have the cigarette addiction, they go to Amma, they say, please take away my addiction. And tomorrow they wake up and they don't want cigarette and they don't want tobacco. So there is this possibility of the transcending of all karma. There's Ketu, the Moksha Karaka in the house of career. This means in her house of her career, she's helping bringing the others towards moksha. But also, if you look at the perspective of her life, she's always been held to a higher position. So, and it's in a Cancer sign. So people have always regarded her as this individual who can bring us to moksha. See, because in Jyotish, there are many different types of karma. There's the fixed karma, there's the movable karma, and there's the dual karma. And for the movable and the dual karma, if we as human beings work hard enough, we can, and Bhabajeet will show you this when he looks at the chart of his individuals, they can evolve past this karma. But sometimes we have very difficult fixed karmas. And according to the great rishis, the only way for us to evolve out of these difficult fixed karmas is with the help of a guru. So we see Ketu position in the 10th house, Jupiter position in the 9th house, all of this strong guru vibration and helping people get closer to moksha, helping people get closer to Mahasamadhi. So this is a very powerful position. I always look at her D60 chart. We find that the moon and Venus are conjunct in the 8th house as well. I like the D60 chart for the past lifetime. So there is this Ketu in the 12th house position in the D60 chart. So so most of her disciples believe, and I believe, that Amma has already achieved the Mahasamadhi. So then why is she here? Saturn is exalted in the ascendant to be of service to the humanity, to be of service to the people, to help us evolve past our afflictions, to help us maintain our spiritual evolution. And so, again, we're looking in the chart of a Satguru, of a master guru, both how they have transcended any malefic influence of their chart to become only the most evolved vibration from that chart. But we can also see how the chart kind of influences their lifetime. See, because you have Saturn exalted in the ascendant, And many of Amma's disciples say that she is very strict, say that she is very disciplined. If you are one of her disciples, she says, go do this, go do that. Why haven't you done this already? So she's a very disciplinarian type of guru. And this comes from the exalted Saturn in the ascendant. Every person who takes her as their disciple, they become more disciplined throughout their life. So I think that's one of the many reasons I have chosen her as my guru, because very early in my life, I lacked discipline. So when I chose her as my guru and took my oath and got my mantra at the age of 15 years ago, it was very much the start of my path towards discipline. And I don't think I would be anywhere near where I am today if it weren't for her grace. So pranams to my guru, and thank you, Bhabajeet, for letting me share her chart. And I hope that you have enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, if you could just share the chart again, I also have some
Please.
insights. Yeah, so in this, as because it's a Libra Lagna, so Saturn is also the Yoga Karaka in the chart. So what I have generally seen is if the Yoga Karaka is very strongly linked with the ascendant, or in any house in exaltation, or in a very great dignity, then what I have seen is these people, they are very much, they do something which they love very much. Not that they may not do it in the career front, but in general, they will be somebody who they like being very much. And this is what is very true with her, I guess. No? She does it all very naturally. It's not that somebody is forcing her or something, it's like. And the other thing I can see here is the ninth lord and the 10th lord, moon and mercury. They are in the moksha houses.
Yeah.
And they are also in trines to each other,
Yeah.
So this is also very good placement I have seen. And the most important thing I would say here is I see the lord of the ascendant placed in the 11th house. That is a extremely very beautiful placement to have in any chart. So this chart, what I understand is, if I would not know this person before, if I would just read this like any ordinary chart, no, then I would say, first of all, this person is a very fixed individual. The person is very much determined. The person has a lot of willpower, and then she has applied this to spiritual path. Very beautiful this is. So now I will also start sharing.
Thank you. That's and one thing I just want to double comment on that you already mentioned is the Mercury in the 12th bhava is in its natural sign, and it's also far away enough from the sun that there's no combustion. So she's and before you get darshan from her, she gives 1 hour logical speech.
Okay.
So one of her things too is she helps kind of help the spiritual evolutionary process for people by talking to them logically. And Mercury's in a really strong position here in the 12th bhava.
Mercury is exalted, and it's like perfect Buddha Aditya Yoga is there.
So I think that's why people are able to very much digest what she has to say.
Yeah, and Sun is the Lord of the 11th house of contacts and network circles and other people. That is also in the 12th house. So that's showing that she will have a lot of contacts, but it will be related to the matters of the 12th house.
Yes.
And Mercury is also the 9th lord, so that religion stuff is coming, and it's also the 12th lord.
Yeah.
So it's a very beautiful, and Jupiter is itself sitting in the 9th house.
I know. I feel like we could stare at this chart all day. One more thing is Rahu, 4th, 10th house axis could show why she has become a guru internationally in terms of having lots of, because of K2 in the 10th and Rahu in the 4th house, yes, she's recognized as a guru in her home, but pretty much every country across the globe.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful chart. And the Lagna Lord and seventh Lord Mars, they are also conjunct. So in my experience, I have seen when these placements are there, the Lagna Lord, seventh Lord conjunct or mutually aspecting each other, then dealing with other people becomes a very important part of their life. I have seen this in my experience, and that's what she does 24 hours. Like, she's all about other people, and
Yes.
amazing it is.
So let you share your screen, Bhabajeet.
Yeah, I will start the share. Okay, can you see? I will just pull out one chart. All right. So I think I will start in reverse. All these two are the same charts. I will. Okay, I will start with this chart. Yes, so you can see the chart, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the chart of one of my very good friends. He's here in Germany. Again, as I said, these are charts of common man. Common man, externally, because these are all they are very much spiritually committed and elevated. So they're definitely great souls, but they're just doing normal stuff like you and me, and it's like everybody else. So that is why I say these are common man charts. So my purpose behind showing these charts is that if these people can do, then we can also do. So whoever is watching this video, you can get inspired to do. And yes, I have not included dashas here, because if I include dashas, then many people will say, oh, this person was lucky to have that dasha, that is why this happened, that is why that happened. Well, that's correct, but even if the dasha is, the mahadasha is not there, but the antardashas of these planets will always be there in your chart. So you do not have to wait for an astrologically compatible mahadasha where you think that, oh, my spiritual life will go like rocket tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. You cannot just do nothing for 40 years and then after 40 years your so-called any mahadasha starts and you just go like a rocket. It doesn't work like that. So you don't have to wait for any mahadasha to come. As they say, the best time to start spiritual practices is now. So whatever you have now, you just utilize. So there you go. This is one of my friend's charts, a very good friend of mine. So in this chart, you can see that the Lord of the Ascendant is in the 12th house. Now, as you were saying last time, for Moon in the 8th house, now that could be a difficult placement for general people. Similarly here, if the Lord of the Ascendant is in the 12th house, they say that the person could be pessimistic sometimes, or the person may not take those actions necessary for doing better things in life. That's true in a generic sense. But the 12th house also is the house of moksha and spiritual stuff. So therefore, just because if you see the Lord of the Ascendant in the 12th, just do not make a blanket statement that it's a bad placement. So here Saturn is in own sign. It is in the 12th house. And you can also see that here Venus, it is the Lord of the 9th house. And here Venus is with Jupiter, and it is also aspecting the ascendant. So I have seen that in my experience, when Venus or Jupiter or the 9th Lord especially links with the ascendant, then this becomes a very powerful situation, because that shows that some kind of an influence of a guru is always coming to you, because you represent the ascendant or the ascendant lord. So Jupiter, Venus, and the 9th lords, 9th lord, these three planets, they are the natural gurus, I would say. So here the 9th lord Venus, the 9th lord is itself Venus, and then Jupiter is also there. Both of them are aspecting the ascendant. So this shows that the word of the gurus will affect this person very much. Okay, and any stuff related to spirituality will excite this person very much. And that's what is very true. And another significator of astrology, of spirituality, is the moon, because moon is a sign, the sign of Cancer, where Jupiter gets exalted. So moon also is in the ninth house in this chart. And Mercury, if you see the degrees, it's having the highest degree in the chart. So Mercury is the Atma Karaka in the chart. And Mercury is quite combust here with the sun, of course. And another thing I have seen here, that if the lord of the moksha houses, they exchange signs or they sit in each other's houses, then also it is a fantastic placement for spirituality. I have seen it in my experience. So here you can see the 12th lord is in 12th house and the 8th lord is in the 8th house. And so these are some of the placements which you can see, that these are very good placements. And the Atma Karaka is exalted here. And if you know the degrees, it is also Vargottama. This degree inside Virgo, it is also Vargottam. So this is a fantastic chart. And Ketu in the 5th house is very good for meditation, they say. So there are multiple things here. One is the relationship of the ninth lord with the Lagna. As I said, Venus is the ninth lord aspecting the Lagna. It's a very powerful placement. So this is one chart which I have seen. And now I will pull out the next chart.
Bhabajeet, may I make a comment on that chart quickly?
Definitely.
There are some things that I really like about this chart for spirituality, and I love that you brought this chart out. As you mentioned, the ascendant ruler is in the 12th bhava. So then you have Saturn in Moksha position. Then you have Mercury and Sun also in a Moksha position. So one thing when I look at for spiritual evolution is these activations in the 12th house and the 8th house. Now, Saturn in the 12th house, it is in its own sign. But a lot of times the evolution that comes with Saturn, it's something that is kind of forced on us through the circumstances in our life. So this person probably, as far as their Saturn karma goes, was forced to spiritually grow. They had to become more patient. They had to become more humble. They had to become more accepting. These are the different types of spirituality growth. And then I also thought in the 5th house, K2 of the past lifetime karma is in the sign of the Gemini, which is depositing in that 8th house where Mercury is exaltation position. So this person could have a real thirst for knowledge when it comes to mystical, occult, esoteric things. Even as the house of disease, they could have knowledge in Jyotish, knowledge in Ayurveda, other forms of alternative medicine might be beneficial for them. So this is a really good position, I think, a really good chart for someone who wants to have a spiritually oriented life, especially knowledge of it. But Saturn was saying, well, even if they didn't want to have a spiritual life, they would have no choice, because there will be some circumstances in their life which they will have to kind of practice these more spiritual qualities. And then the last thing I wanted to say is spirituality and moksha. So like oftentimes we think of spirituality as a good thing, but it also has to do with letting go of our attachments. So this person has strong position in 8th house, strong position in 12th house. So they've had to let go of many things. And that will make you a spiritual person.
Yeah, and there's another thing here, Saturn and Mars are in mutual aspect.
Yeah.
So that 9-12 axis is there, and Moon is also kind of afflicted by Mars and Saturn. So what you have said is very true. Things have not come very easily for this person spiritually. And there's some very severe health issue which this person has, which I will not mention here. It's related to one of the bodily organs, but yeah, so there are health issues because of this ascendant lord in the 12th, and Atma Karaka being combust by the sun. At the same time, because the Atma Karaka is exalted and it is also Vargottam, So this person is very strong will, in spite of all these things. And
Yeah, and ascendant is Satyabhishak. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
so then person is diseased, but also they're supposed to become healer.
yes, it is last degree of Shatam.
Satyabhishak. So he has to figure something out to preserve his life.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, so now I will pull off the other chart. This,
Thank you for letting me share, Bhabajeet.
yeah. And this is one of the charts of my seniors. So this is another super chart. So when first you glance at this chart, you are like, maybe this is a chart of some avatar of Lord Vishnu or somebody. And this person is born on Akshay Tritiya. As you can see, both sun and moon are exalted, which is this year on 10th May, I guess. And this is an extraordinary chart. This is like the Lord of the Ascendant.
Very cool chart, Bhabajeet.
So Lord of the Ascendant is in the 11th house, like the chart which you showed of Ma. And Jupiter is exalted. It is in the Lagna. It's in Digbala. And Jupiter is also the sixth Lord here. So sixth Lord, when linked to the Ascendant, can give a power to do a lot of penances, tapasya, austerity, do a lot of fasting and pujas and chanting and reading the scriptures. That them, because sixth house is the 10th from the ninth house. That's a very good house for doing brahmacharya and such stuff. And then we also have sun, which is exalted. Now why I'm speaking of sun here, because this person's family has been very spiritual. So sun is the lord of the second house. As you can see, it's the sign Leo there. So the second lord is in the 10th house. So this shows that one of the most primary karmas which this person will have is dealing with some of the matters of the family. So family matters is very important for this person, because the second lord is in the 10th. And then you also have Mercury, the third lord in the 10th. So whenever 10th and third houses, these are linked, and the person can take up things like giving knowledge to others as a career. And Saturn is also in own sign, and it is also in Digbala. So it's an extraordinary chart. And there are three exalted planets in the Kendra, and one planet is exalted in, that is Moon. And the ninth lord is also Jupiter. It is also in Lagna. So this person loves to just be with the gurus. It's like that's the biggest fascination for this person. Just I want to be with the gurus. And nothing else this person wants. And this person is just helping others. And this person is just like the typical ascendant lord in the 11th, like for Amritanandamayi Ma we just saw. So these are great placements to have. And one of the challenges is this Venus and Mars and Ketu in the 12th house. So there were certain repercussions for this, but now the person is out from these challenges. So it's a very, very powerful chart. And in my experience of meeting with this person from like 2010 to 2015, I have been very closely associated with this person. I have seen, I mean, there is nothing this person cannot do. Anything which like sometimes my one of my gurus used to say, if nothing is getting done, then give it to this person, he will do it. So fantastic chart. This is an extraordinary chart and very good. Two Mahapurush yogas are there. Hansa Mahapurush yoga is there. Then Shasha Mahapurush yoga is there. Very powerful chart this is. And yeah, that is all. Any comments you would like to give on this chart?
Amazing chart, Bhabajeet. What a person to know. So a few things came to mind. One is the relevancy of the yuga. See, because it's true, a chart like this in the Satya Yuga will have a many different manifestation, because this chart manifesting in the Kali Yuga is limited. And not limited this person will have an amazing life. But we in the Kali Yuga, the Kshaitra is the highest worship. So that's why athletes are worshipped. That's why politicians are worshipped. That's why celebrities are worshipped. But also, and so that's one thing that I wanted to mention is this person is a very spiritually evolved soul for many, many lifetimes, and they're probably doing amazing work in this life, but they're also living in the wrong time. Now, I don't mean wrong time in terms of they don't carry benefit here, but all of the gifts which this chart has to offer are not honored by the Kali Yuga.
Yeah, exactly. That is very true. And again, I was showing another principle. That here also you can see the fourth lord, which is one of the lord of the moksha houses, is again Venus, and in the 12th house, and it is again with the 10th lord. You see Mars.
Yeah.
So that also makes spiritually very prominent as a matter of karma. Just not just giving lectures or something, just doing things himself also. So this is one very beautiful chart, and I will pull out somebody else's chart also here.
And the Mars was in Gemini, which while many of the other planets were exalted, that's not the best position for Mars. And again, Mars is the Kçaitra, the warrior. So, and then I was also thinking that Ketu and Rahu are sometimes considered debilitated along the Gemini Sagittarius axis. So, so the K2 could show some K2 in the 12th house. Like you said, there was some problems with which the individual dealt with. But in general, it can kind of show this like following my own spiritual path, renunciating the material world. But then the person's also sun in the exalted in the 10th house, which I think would correct that. But a duality between wanting to renounce this world, but also wanting to be successful within it.
Yeah, that is perfectly seen in the life of this person. So how that has manifested here is that this person is inherently very detached. This person doesn't like to be famous or name and fame. This person is least interested in all this. But somehow, because of his actions, these planets like Sun and Mercury and Lagna Lord in the 11th. So even if this person doesn't want, a lot of name and fame comes to this person.
Yeah.
And this happens especially in spiritual circles, and that's very aptly you have mentioned. So that dilemma is there, but for him it has worked out like this, that he himself doesn't crave after this, but somehow it comes to him.
That's the best approach.
Yeah, like even for the battle of Kurukshetra, if you see, Arjuna never wanted name and fame. Yudhishthir never wanted the kingdom. It was they never wanted to fight also, but Krishna said that no, you will fight, and Yudhishthir became the king. And in fact, Arjuna is also equally famous like Krishna, because if you see the photo of Bhagavad Gita, the book, you will see that Krishna is sitting there in the chariot. So he's not very prominent there, but Arjuna is like, he's taking the Gandhi when he's standing, and he's the hero there.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Moses in the Old Testament. God was like, Moses, I want you to lead my people. And Moses was like, you got the wrong guy. I'm not the person you want to do that. I'm just a shepherd. I just lead these lambs. I just lead these goats. And no, that's exactly why I want you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so one more chart I'll show, and then we can go to the other chart which you have, I guess. Yeah, so this is another very powerful chart, and I have specifically kept this chart because there's a very powerful yoga in this chart. I guess you have already identified. Well, Dharma Karmadhipati Yoga is there because the ninth lord, which is Sun, and 10th lord, which is Mercury, is conjunct together, and that too it is in the ninth house. So this is another very powerful yoga which I have seen working right and left. And there are other charts where also this yoga is present, which I will show eventually today. So It's a very, 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 very powerful chart. And again, as I said, Jupiter and Venus, these two planets shows our communications with the gurus. So these two are also present in the 10th house, and this is a fantastic placement to have. And there are some issues, of course. Venus is in debility, of course, and there are some other mantras which I have suggested this person to do. And Moon is also in the fifth house. Fifth house is the house of mantra, as they say. So it's a very powerful chart. It's this ninth lord, 10th lord yoga is there, and it's very powerful. The person loves to do spiritual activities, loves to guide others. And this is also another person who, again, you see that Mars, Ketu, in Gemini. This is another person who doesn't like name, fame of that sort. But what to do? It comes. And here also the Lord of the Ascendant is in the 10th house. That is also another fantastic placement. So the point which I want to make here today with these three charts is, many times people have this misconception about spirituality, that, or about religion also. Sometimes I've seen people saying it like this, that okay, spirituality and religious stuff, is for those people who couldn't do much good in their material life. So it's like a consolation prize for those people who failed in their material life. I've heard many people saying like this, because whenever many people mail me that, I have started reading the Gita after seeing your videos, etc. But people tell me, my family members, my relatives, my friends, they tell me that, oh, your material life is good, why are you becoming spiritual now? So unless material life is bad, you should not become spiritual. So that's what I want to show in these charts, that these are people who have had great material success. They are at the pinnacle of material success, and that is indicated in the chart. If you see the 10th house, as you said in the last chart, sun exalted in the 10th house. So you don't have to be a pauper, a beggar materially to become spiritual. It's not required. That's a very big misconception, because even if you are a beggar, maybe you may not want to be spiritual. If that would be the case, then every person who was, in poverty would be spiritual, but we don't see like that. So spiritual progress has nothing to do with your finances or with your married life or anything to do with externals, because some of these charts, they are married, some of these charts, they are not married. So that's what I wanted to show. And any comments on this chart?
I just love your philosophy, Bhabajeet. I mean, the discussion about the material versus the spiritual is just so deep. Like, that's why they say rich man's heaven is the poor man's hell. But also that money doesn't buy happiness. Now, obviously, having no money and having to struggle for food and shelter makes it hard to be happy. But if you have what you need, the question is, why would you need more? And if you have everything that you need, why would you need more? And then you get into more darker qualities such as greed, envy, ego. And we have to have a healthy ego, but there's also an unhealthy ego. So, their arta is dhamarta kama mokshanam. Arta is one of the aims of life, that it is within our destiny to fulfill that. That is our ability to provide for ourselves. So we have to have everything that we need. But again, this desire to have more than we need, that's an infection that the world is suffering from. And I think when we get outside of this Kali Yuga, so in this chart, you have a person, strong energies in their career, and strong energies in their material influence. But then, like you said, that particular yoga in the 9th house kind of leads them on a path of spiritual evolution. Very beneficial for this person to have a guru. And there's even potential for this person to become a guru. But that Mercury K2 in the 7th house is this is saying for their spirit, K2 is the Moksha Karaka in the 7th house. So they could either have a very unique relationship in which their partner is helping them spiritually evolve in a really intense way, or they shall have no relationship at all. And the moon is in the fifth house, so there's desire, romance, attraction, and all of these things. But it's really only the partner who's going to help you grow spiritually that's compatible here. So a lot of the support, it does support their chart for them to achieve, to have what they need. But then once they have what they need, I feel like not to be attached to the partner and to focus the life towards spiritual practices. That's what I was feeling from this chart.
Yeah, and if you see the nakshatras, the ascendant is in Mula nakshatra, where Saturn has been for very long, and now it has entered, Purvashada. And now 3 planets are in Sagittarius, and he has many planets, in like Uttar Falguni. He has, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter. So Uttar Falguni is about, consulting and negotiations and making deals with others. So as you said, he has a potential to be a very good guru, and definitely he is also indeed, a very good guide, and people keep approaching him not only for spiritual reasons. Like he's also here in Germany, and one of my another friend, he was calling this person that I'm having to get my driving license, can you help me, I'm facing this problem, that problem. So it's very good for this person to guide others.